अभयम सत्व संशुद्धिर्ज्ञान योग व्यवस्थिति दानम दमश्च यज्ञश्च स्वाध्यायस्तपार्जवम् अहिंसा सत्यम क्रोधस्त्याग शान्तिरपैशुनम् दया भूतेषु लोलुप्त्वं मार्दयम् अचापलम् तेजक्षमा धृति शौचम् अद्रोहो नातिमानिता भवन्ति सम्पदं दैवम् अभिजातस्य भारत. Okay, read the translation. Yes. So why is Krishna started speaking about these qualities all of a sudden? So what is connection between previous chapter and this chapter? Sushma? Mm-hmm. Okay. Anybody else? What's connection between previous chapter?
Hare Krishna. Roji, in previous chapter, Krishna described the banyan tree of the material world. Didn't describe the fruits. So now in this chapter, Krishna is describing the fruits.
Achha, these are the fruits of what?
Is good fruits or bad fruits? Like
Huh?
divine qualities and demoniac qualities, these two.
So they're fruits of what? उनको बोलना था? हाँ?
Means these two types of karmas people they are performing.
Okay, two types of karmas. ठीक है. Okay, anybody else? Actually, there's a connection between 14, 15, 16. All three of them are connected. Hmm? Hmm. Hmm. And correct. So you're correct. So that's connection between 14th and this chapter. और बीच में 15 भी है. तो उसका कुछ कनेक्शन है क्या? हाँ. हम्म. अच्छा, ठीक है. Okay, so this is the connection between the three chapters. So Sattvagun, Rajagun, Tamagun. Then 15th chapter, we saw the tree of material existence. So those who are in sattva are situated where? Upper planets. Rajas, tamas, lower planets. And so those who are situated in sattva have divine qualities. Those who are situated in rajas and tamas have demonic qualities. So that is the connection. Okay, 1 to 6, transcendent demonic qualities, 7 to 18, demonic nature and results of demonic activities, 19 to 24. Okay. So, in these first 3 verses, only in these first 3 verses, Krishna is describing what? Divine qualities. Devi Sampat, Asuri Sampat. So, isn't it a little unfair that out of 24 verses, only 3 verses have divine qualities? And how many verses? 21 verses only demoniac. This is imbalance, isn't it? Or does Krishna like demoniac qualities more than divine? What do you think? Is there some reason, or Krishna thought, okay, 3 verses are okay?
Because majority people in material world are having demonic qualities.
Acha. Majority are having demonic qualities. In which yuga?
Abhi
Huh?
Kali Yuga.
So when was Bhagavad Gita spoken?
At the dawn of Kali Yuga.
Acha, at the dawn of Kali Yuga. Arey, Bhagavad Gita bhul gaya.
Some years before that.
Huh?
महाभारत युद्ध के बाद कितना साल बचा था कलयुग में? 30 years were the rule.
No, when was the knowledge of Bhagavad Gita spoken before?
Oh, that was millions of years ago.
So then Bhagavad Gita knowledge is always there. It's not meant only for Kali Yuga.
Yes.
Okay, tendency to win lower modes is higher. Agreed. Okay. But then if you say that, then there should be more verses of divine qualities, isn't it? So that we can be elevated. अरे हम उतना केमिस्ट्री नहीं समझते हुए यार. Devotees are expert in joining anything. And I never understood what you said. Okay, any other answer? No, what we are asking is, why only 3 verses for divine and 21 verses for demoniac? That is our question. Any other guesses?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam.
हाँ, कौन है?
Shubham here, Prabhuji.
Okay, good. Why are you not here?
Prabhuji, we have some Janmashtami services like hoardings and donation and other things. So that's why
Good.
we could not travel.
Okay, fine. Go ahead.
So, Prabhuji, because generally Shastras, those things are prominent, which are the tendencies in the people. So that
In all Shastras is like that?
Prabhuji, depending on time, like, maximum Shastras depict mostly 2 things. One is like how to get out of this material world. Another thing, avidya, like what is this material things, how we are trapped, and what are the things which are prominent, which are binding us. So this is like what generally tendency we have, so that we can identify ourselves nicely, that yeah, this is what I am also, not only others. That's why it is in detail. That's what I understand. Hare
Okay,
Krishna.
not a bad guess. Which chapters? 12th chapter. Anywhere else? Anywhere else divine qualities were described? What? 13th chapter. Correct. 8 to 12. And 14, ठीक qualities of Sattvagun. Also, second chapter, Sthita Prajna. So we find that some description of divine qualities has already been done before in various places. So therefore, according to some devotees, that is the reason why only 3 verses on divine qualities. Okay, fine. So now here, these qualities have been divided according to Varna and Ashram. So before that, let's read the first 2 paragraphs of the purport. Verse? ठीक है, आगे.
क्लास अटेंड कर रही है
नहीं जाता है क्या ऊपर?
हाँ टेम्पल में पूरा आता है
दूसरा क्लास चल रहा है बीच में. विठल का दूसरा क्लास चल रहा है.
No.
Okay. So we find that this word abhijatasi is used both for divine qualities and demoniac qualities. So abhijatasi means from birth. So these qualities come from birth. Based upon previous karma, how the jiva has been influenced from the previous life. Then also in this life, so many factors are there which influence association, sanskaras. So all these factors influence. But essentially, the qualities come from previous life, previous birth. So the subtle body has all the influences of the 3 gunas, and the subtle body is transferred from one body to the next. So they come right from birth. So just like we read about Vena, right from his birth, he had demoniac qualities. Even while playing with other children, he would murder them. So one of the reasons there is because, anyone knows? So his mother was the daughter of death personified. Not Yamaraj. No, this is death personified. So because of the demoniac qualities coming in that family, and usually it is said that the son gets the qualities of the mother. So therefore, and the daughter gets the qualities of father. So that's how, so father was death personified. So the daughter got his qualities, and then the son got her qualities. So that is how the qualities are coming in parampara. So therefore, all these factors influence what qualities a child may have. And of course, the Garbhadan Sanskar, if parents perform, then a suitable soul is attracted. A soul with divine qualities is attracted. And therefore, Srila Prabhupada gives so much emphasis on the Garbhadan Sanskar. So without these sanskaras, if the parents unite at unregulated times, wrong time, no sanskaras, then as is explained in the third canto of the Bhagavatam in connection to Diti. So we know Diti and Kashyapa had union at a wrong time. And so therefore they were, yes, Hiranyaksha and Hiranyakashipu were born. So there Srila Prabhupada explains that, there is explained that how Lord Shiva, he is very compassionate to all these ghostly beings. And so when there are these parents who unite at the wrong time, no sanskaras, then Lord Shiva, having mercy on the ghostly living entities, then he puts such ghostly living entities into the bodies of such people, such mothers. So his compassion is because the ghosts want bodies, right? So therefore, he has compassion on them, and therefore he puts them into the wombs of such mothers who don't follow any sanskaras. And so therefore we can understand these days, most of the people, what type of people are born. No sanskaras, nothing. So then it is all, we don't know, some bhoot, pret, all sorts of people. So with all types of demoniac qualities, they're born. Therefore Prabhupada says, born like cats and dogs. And this is like animals, because no sanskara. So therefore all this is very important in even in Krishna consciousness. Therefore Prabhupada is writing, that should be the advantage of children born of a father and mother absorbed in Krishna consciousness. So if parents are absorbed in Krishna consciousness, they perform the sanskaras. Of course, sanskaras, Garbhadan Sanskar for devotees also basically means being absorbed in Krishna consciousness. So, as said before, union chanting some 50 rounds or something. So all these are important. Then the qualities, they come like that from birth. Okay. Now, as you can see in the next paragraph, Prabhupada talks about Varnashram, 4 Varnas, 4 Ashramas. And so these qualities are on the basis of Varna and Ashram. So the first 3 qualities, Abhayam, Sattva Samshuddhir, Jnana Yoga Vyavasthiti, these first 3 qualities are for sannyasis. Next 3 qualities, Danam, Damascha, Yajnascha. These 3 qualities are for Grahasthas. Swadhyaya is for Brahmacharis. Tapa is for Vanaprasthas. Arjavam is for everyone. All Varnas, all Ashramas, Arjavam is very important. We'll discuss why. Okay, so that's according to the Ashramas. Then according to Varnas. So, Ahimsa, Satyam, Akrodhas, Tyaga, Shantir, Apaishunam. So all these are meant for Brahmanas. Sorry, even the remaining actually. Daya, Bhuteshu, Aluruptvam, Mardhavam, Reer, Achapalam. All those are for Brahmanas. That entire second verse, all those qualities are meant for Brahmanas. Then for Kshatriyas, Teja, Kshama, Dhriti. Teja, Kshama, Dhriti. These are for Kshatriyas. Shaucham is for Vaishyas. Shaucham is for Vaishyas. And Adroho Nati Manita. This is for Shudras. All right? Is it clear? Which qualities are meant for which varna, which ashram? Arey haan na, kuch to bolo.
Yes, so how come for Vaishya only?
वो discuss करेंगे. How come we'll discuss? We only gave the list now. Okay. So now we'll discuss one by one. So the first three qualities are meant for sannyasis. Avayam, Sattva Samshuddhi, and Jnana Yoga Vyavasthiti. So here all sannyasis are there, right? Here all sannyasis, correct? What? No. All potential sannyasis, correct? Okay, fine. So these three qualities are very important for all of us. So let's read. Okay, somebody read. In the Vanaprastha institution. अच्युतपुर का हो गया ना?
Sannyasi or a person in the name of life is considered to be the head of the spiritual master of all the spiritual status and orders. The Brahmana is considered to be the spiritual master of the three other sections of society, namely the Kshatriyas, the Vaishyas, and the Shudras. But a sannyasi who is on the top of the institution is considered to be the spiritual master of the Brahmana. But a sannyasi, the first qualification should be fearlessness. Because a sannyasi has to be alone without support or guarantee of support. He has simply to depend on the mercy of the great personality of God. If one thinks, after I leave my correction, who will protect me? Not secular renouncement of life. One must be fully convinced that Krishna, or the Supreme Personality of Godhead, in his localized aspects of Paramatma, is always waiting. That he sees everything and he always knows what he can do. One must thus have strong conviction that Krishna and Paramatma will take care of the soul surrendered to him. I shall never be alone from him. Even if I live in the darkest region of the forest, I shall be accompanied by Krishna and he will give me all protection. That conviction is called fearlessness. This state of mind is necessary for a person to renounce the love of life.
Okay, so this is first qualification for one in the renounced order. Abhayam, fearlessness. So cause of fear is what? What is the cause of fear? Okay, that's a reason, but what is the root cause?
Bhayam dvitiyat abhinivetash.
हाँ, तो उसका मतलब क्या है? Identifying with the body, and that is due to
abhinivesh, avidya.
हाँ, वही वर्स में क्या है?
ईशाद अपेतस्य विपर्ययो स्मृति.
Vismriti, Vismriti. Forgetfulness of the Supreme Lord, that is the root cause. So because of forgetfulness of the Supreme Lord, there is bodily misconception, abhinivesh. One is absorbed in the bodily misconception. And therefore, there's always fear because body is temporary, body can be destroyed at any time. All the connections with the body can be finished at any time. So therefore, there is always fear. And so when there is vismriti, then there is fear because one feels there is nobody to protect. Anytime I can be finished. So in that commentary there, two examples are given. One is of a child. As soon as a child sees mother is not there, what happens? What does the child do? He cries. Immediately he starts crying. As soon as his mother is not seen, he starts crying. Why? Fear. Other example they give is a citizen. If a citizen thinks that government cannot protect, then he is fearful. So, because of forgetfulness of the Supreme Lord, because one does not have that faith, as long as one does not have that faith that Krishna will protect, then there is always fear.
आवाज बंद हो गया. No sound. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. सुनाई दे रहा है?
Yes, Prabhuji. Now
Yes,
audible.
Prabhuji.
Yes,
Yes,
Prabhuji.
So this is the root cause of fear. And therefore, if one has that faith that Krishna will protect, today morning's Bhagavatam class was basically on this topic only. So how one, without the protection of the Supreme Lord, there is no safety. Ultimate protection can only be given by the Supreme Lord. So devotee, especially in the renounced order, needs to have that faith. As Shukdev Goswami says in the second verse of, first chapter. First chapter, what is this? Fourth verse or fifth verse? Dehapatya kalatradeshu atma saineshu asatswapi tesham pramattanidhanam pashyanapi na pashyati. So one thinks that all these can protect me. What? Deha. So therefore people want to have strong bodies, correct? They think the body can protect me. Deha, apatya, relatives, kala means wife, adishu, so many other people, doctors, lawyers, astrologers. So many people, they think they can protect. But all of them are what? One thinks all of these are my soldiers for protecting me. But all of them are Atma Saineshu Asatswapi. They're all fallible soldiers. They can't protect themselves. Then how can they protect me? But one fails to understand this. Tesham Pramatta, one who is Pramatta, mad, in the bodily misconception. Then Pashanapina Pashyati. He sees that so many people are dying. They can't protect themselves. Then how can they protect me? So therefore, one in the renounced order especially, who is at least trying to leave all connections. So brahmacharis are trying to leave, and the sannyasi is socially and civilly dead. He has no connections. Correct? So therefore, sannyasi can never go back to his, if he is married, if he was married, then he cannot go back to see his wife. So the point is that especially one in the renounced order should have that faith that Krishna is there to protect. Nobody else can give protection. Otherwise, person in the renounced order also has insecurities. Who will protect? Especially in old age, who will protect? And quite a few brahmacharis get married because of this reason. Insecurity, what will happen in old age? Who will protect me? Where will the money come from? But then, the reality is, nobody can protect anyone. So I think so I told this once, right, in some class. So there was one brahmachari who stayed for 10 to 12 years in the ashram, and he had this insecurity. Not son and daughter, two daughters. So therefore he got married. thinking that he'll have wife and children to protect. But then he got 2 daughters. Then what will happen to the daughters? So then he was thinking, so what benefit did I get by getting married? Well, now it's same situation. Who's there to protect? So he was lamenting, oh, wish I could realize this before. But too late. So that is the point. So ultimately, no one has anyone to protect. So, of course, there's a detailed description of this in the 30th chapter. Yes, 30th chapter of the 3rd canto. There's a detailed description of the life of a materialistic person, how he dies such a pitiable life, especially in old age. In old age, the family members are only thinking when this fellow will die. Correct. Because he is like a burden. And the example is given that just like a farmer thinks an old oxen is a burden because he only has to feed and the bull cannot do any work. So it becomes a burden, a liability. So similarly, people also, family members also think old person is liability. So forget about taking care. They think is a liability. So therefore, Prabhupada writes, therefore they treat old man like dog. Keep him outside, give some food, forget it. So therefore, one should understand these things. And therefore, Prabhupada writes there, therefore it is best, therefore even in those who are in family life also, they should leave home at 50 years of age, travel to holy places, and die at some unknown place without even the relatives knowing. That is best. Impossible, no? That. Uh-huh. Achha. हाँ हाँ अच्छा Krishna will take care. Somebody will do. So just like Dhritarashtra and Gandhari went to the forest after Vidura's strong preaching, and then Yudhishthira Maharaj was worried, who will take care of my uncle and aunt in the forest? So then who came? Who came? Who came? Yes, Narad Muni. So Narad Muni came to Yudhishthira Maharaj and said, oh, what are you worrying about? Oh, that Supreme Lord who takes care of all the animals in the forest will take care of. So, so then Yudhishthira Maharaj was worried. So who will do the last rites? Who will do? So now don't worry. From their own bodies, fire will come and burn the body. So that's how everything is arranged. So therefore, one in the renounced order should be fearless, abhayam. Not that ये कहाँ ये कैसे मिलेगा वो कैसे मिलेगा लॉकर कहाँ होगा ये कहाँ होगा bindas. So one of the renounced order should be fearless, depend on Krishna, whatever basic necessities will be provided. Krishna provides even for ants. Prabhupada says, thousands of ants in the corner. Krishna is providing, and is also providing for elephants. So why won't provide for brahmacharis and sannyasis who have renounced everything for Krishna? So therefore one should never have these insecurities. They're foolish insecurities. Thinking who will take care? Nobody has anybody to take care. Ultimately, everyone is on one's own only. So in that connection, we see the example of Haridas Thakur. So there was Haridas Thakur, he was living in a cave and he had a very good friend inside the cave. Who was that? And not just ordinary snake. Ajgar, black, poisonous cobra. And Haridas Thakur peacefully living. Nice friend, right? If one cobra comes here, how many of us will stay? Everyone jump out of the window. Of course, we can't imitate. But the point is, he was so fearless. फिर तकलीफ किसको हुआ? So other people who were coming to meet Haridas Thakur, they had problem. They were afraid. So then Haridas Thakur, these people are afraid because of snake. So then Haridas Thakur thought of leaving the cave. Then what happened? The snake left. So snake is there. I mean, Paramatma is there in the snake also. And Haridas Thakur, so seeing Haridas Thakur's intentions, snake left. So that's what Prabhupada is writing here. So the devotee has faith that Paramatma is there in the hearts of the animals also. Unless Krishna sanctions, unless Paramatma sanctions, the animal can't do anything. Correct? So that is the faith which a devotee has. And especially for those in the renounced order, very important. So otherwise, as brahmacharis also we see so many concerns, insecurities. So not only regarding old age, but sometimes insecurities. ये सेवा का क्या होगा, इसका क्या होगा, इसका क्या होगा, बाद में सेवा मिलेगा, नहीं मिलेगा. So many insecurities we find devotees have. But one of the primary symptoms of a devotee is what? Krishna Eka Sharanam, dependence on Krishna. So that is something which is very important, especially for those in the renounced order. And that's what Prabhupada is writing over here. One must be fully convinced. One must be fully convinced about what? That Krishna, or the Supreme Personality of Godhead in his localized aspect as Paramatma, is always within. That is seeing everything. And he always knows what one intends to do. Krishna knows even what one intends to do. Matlab kya hai? He knows my mind also. He knows my mind also. So therefore, what we desire is very important. So if I have a strong desire, no, I want to remain in the renounced order and continue my devotional service, then Krishna will help. So if we ourselves don't have that firm conviction, and then we don't have faith, then yes, then Krishna also will arrange situations like that. So this is very important. One must have firm conviction. You see, again, Prabhupada is writing. One must have firm conviction that Krishna as Paramatma will take care of a soul surrendered to him. I shall never be alone. So that's how Srila Prabhupada went to America. How many people he knew in America? Practically no one. Prabhupada, the old person, 70 years old, is going. And in those days, it was not so common. There were hardly any Indians going to the West those days. So at 70 years, Prabhupada is going. How much fearlessness is required? He didn't know where he will stay. He didn't have any friends. How much fearlessness is required? So, this is a very important quality. Any clarifications? We must do the needful means that you have to keep the kitchen running. नहीं तो कल से आप बोलेंगे किचन बंद करेंगे, भगवान दे देंगे. You have to do the needful, ना? वो सब्जी लाना पड़ता है ना? Automatic आता है. Now everything online, ना? But in any case, you understood the point, na? So whatever is our duty, we need to do that. We cannot be like Srivas Thakur. Srivas Thakur, for his maintenance, what he was doing? कुछ मिलेगा आपके किचन में? तीन बार ताली बजा. So we have to do, na? So we have to do the needful. We have to do our duties. If we need to take medicine, we need to take medicine. So that is the meaning of, we have to do the needful, but at the same time, we understand that, what? Yes. If Krishna decides that this person has to die, we can, in that same purport, Prabhupada is writing, right? Today's purport, we can have the best of doctors and the best of treatments, everything we can have. But if Krishna decides this person has to die, who can do anything? But at the same time, it doesn't mean we don't have to do anything. So it does not mean that we purposefully go and stand in the middle of the road or do some funny things like that. So that we cannot imitate such great souls. We can't imitate. We can't imitate Haridas Thakur living with the snake. We can't drink this Chanamrit if we know there is deadly poison. So because if we drink, 100% will die. So better to always take humble position. So we should not think ourselves so exalted like Ramanujari, he'll drink poison and still nothing will happen. So better take humble position. So do the needful. That is the meaning of doing the needful. So if I know there is poison in Chanamrit, better don't drink. ठीक है ना?
हरे कृष्ण जी.
हाँ. कौन बोल रहा है?
विठल विश्वदास.
हाँ बोलो.
Prabhuji, as you mentioned that the one who is in renounced order, like the Vanaprastha, when he leaves, and if he dies unknowingly, that is a nice death. But Chanakya Pandit says that Putrarte Kriyate Bharya Putra Pinda Prayojanam. So then if he dies, then how he will give Pinda and how he will.
No, that's what we were discussing. Now somebody will do. So see, last rites anybody can do. Later on, Pinda, anyways, the son can do, na? Pinda, the son can do later on, na?
Without Asti Visarjan.
Huh?
Asti Visarjan has to happen.
That somebody else will do, na?
Yes.
Anyway, at least you don't have to worry about all these things. ठीक है ना?
Yes, sir.
ठीक है, let's go ahead. Next quality, Sattva Samshuddhi. Prabhupada gives the whole story of Chota Haridas here. हाँ पढ़ो.
Then has to be most important.
Huh? Huh? Anyway, she was an old woman. So, I'm not very sure why Prabhupada wrote young woman, but she was not so young. Hmm? Huh. Oh. Right. It's there in CC like that? It's not. Okay, possible. Okay, fine, whatever. That's a detail. So, so this is a very important point for those in the renounced order. Sattva samshuddhi, purification of existence. And so here especially Srila Prabhupada is focusing on the association with women. And so we all know how Narad Muni is speaking to King Yudhishthira Maharaj, is speaking about how for brahmachari it is very essential, those in the renounced order, to keep distance. So everyone knows the butter and fire principle. So the women are compared to fire and man to butter. So butter always melts in front of the fire, correct? Whichever butter, whichever company, how much ever time in the deep freeze also, but still, as soon as butter comes in front of fire, it has to melt. So therefore Lord Kapila in the 3rd canto, 31st chapter, he's saying that, save and except Narayan, nobody is free from the sex impulse. Nobody is free. So therefore, so there he gives the examples of Brahma, Shiva, even they get agitated. They got agitated. So therefore, one should not think that one is better than them. And everyone knows the story of Vyasdev and Jaimini Rishi, correct? So Jaimini Rishi also was quite an advanced personality, but still. So therefore we find our acharyas have shown by their example, and here we can see Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He is Supreme Personality of Godhead, such a strict sannyasi, but still, even women could not even offer obeisances from close, only from distance. So strict. Why? Just to show his by example. So one cannot take these things lightly. These injunctions of Shastra, one should not take lightly. So you know the pastime of Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur and Srila Prabhupada in this connection. Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur with Obil Kapoor. You know the pastime? Everyone knows the pastime? Tell. No, that was the Obil Kapoor's wife. Hmm. He said, you can talk here. All disciples only, no problem. He didn't agree. He didn't agree. And Srila Prabhupada, you know, Srila Prabhupada's pastime with Buddhimanta Prabhu. Not Buddhimanta, who is that? Buddhimanta, right. So once Srila Prabhupada was talking with this I'm just trying to recollect the name of this devotee. It was something connected to Buddhimanta, anyway, whatever. So he was talking to this devotee, and then Pishima comes. And then Prabhupada starts talking with her in Bengali. And this devotee, this American devotee is sitting, he cannot understand anything. So he stands up to leave. And Prabhupada immediately says, sit down. So he gets frightened. I'm like, kya ho gaya? So anyway, he sits down and they continue the conversation in Bengali. He's sitting there. And then afterwards, she leaves. And after she leaves, then this Prabhu asks, Shil Prabhupada, why did you tell me to sit? I couldn't understand anything. What was the purpose? And what Prabhupada says? Matra svasta duhitra va naviviktas no bhave balvan indriya gnamo vidvam sapi karshati. When Prabhupada explains that verse, he says, see, somebody will say, who will think of enjoying with mother, daughter, sister? Only a fool. But what did he say? No, not fool. Vidwan. Vidwan. Even a vidwan, vidvam sapi, even a vidwan can get agitated if one sits with mother, sister, daughter in a lonely place. Prabhupada quoted that verse. Now again, what was the age of Prabhupada and what was the age of his sister? Grand old people. So there was no problem for them, but Prabhupada wanted to set example. What is the standard? So all these examples are there. And unfortunately, sometimes brahmacharis don't take these examples too seriously. And they think, no, we are better than these people. And so sometimes we find. And as we always say, whatever is there in Shastra is what? Science. Absolutely perfect. So I think I told you this example of one brahmachari who was, so he had the service of collecting funds, and so he was going to so many opulent people's homes and talking with ladies very freely. And at the same time, he had no morning program. Double advantage. Ah, yes. So and devotees were warning him, "Hey, be careful, you're in dangerous situation." So he would say, "Arey, ab tak kuch nahi hua. Aage kya hoga?" That was his what? Overconfidence. He was saying, things are okay, what's the problem? That's how Maya traps. So Maya makes one feel, oh, you're okay, everything is okay, go ahead with all the nonsense, go ahead. You're Paramamsa. Nothing will happen. But then it is science. The butter has to melt. One day it has to melt. And the obvious happened. So sometimes brahmacharis make these mistakes and afterwards they lament. But then it becomes too late. So this is foolishly trying to enter into fire, knowing that the fire will burn. This is just foolishness. So therefore, whatever is there in scripture, one has to take it very carefully. One has to be serious. And that is why Mahaprabhu is setting such a high standard. Chota Haridas didn't have some big problem actually. Maybe it's good in this context. Folio is here?
Yes.
Cool. So we can read that commentary on the Chota Haridas pastime. Prabhupada gives nice.
Yes. Last verse na Prabhuji. Summarize.
एकदम last page.
2.170 172.
तो page नाम क्या? Page नाम Okay. You want to share it or? यहाँ पर नहीं आता है.
Prabhuji, last verse है Prabhuji.
नहीं
170.
हमने ढूंढ लिया. वो क्या है, वो थोड़ा आपके साथ शेयर करने के लिए तो टाइम लग रहा है. हाँ लेकिन व्यू. ठीक है. Okay, so this is almost towards the end of the pastime. हाँ विठल प्रूफ दिखाई दे रहा है ना?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Good. So you said Mahaprabhu Kripa Sindhu ke pare bhujite Priya Bhakti Danda Karina Dharma Bhujaite. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is the ocean of mercy. Who can understand him? When he chastises his dear devotees, he certainly does so to re-establish the principles of religion or duty. That is the main reason, to establish dharma. Purport. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur says in this connection that Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, the ocean of mercy. So Mahaprabhu is said to be the most merciful, yet he is chastising. So that is the paradox. So chastised Junior Haridas, although Junior Haridas was his dear devotee, to establish that one in the devotional line engaged in pure devotional service should not be a hypocrite. Hypocrite, that's the main teaching here. For a person engaged in devotional service in the renounced order, having intimate relationships with women is certainly hypocrisy. This chastisement was given to Junior Haridas and as example to future Sahajiyas who might adopt the dress of the renounced order to imitate Rupa Goswami and other bona fide sannyasis, but secretly have illicit connections with women. To teach such men, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu chastises dear devotee Haridas for a slight deviation from the regulative principles, right? So as far as Chota Haridas was concerned, it was only slight deviation. Srimati Madhvi Devi was a highly elevated devotee. Therefore, approaching her to ask for some rice to serve Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was certainly not very offensive. Nevertheless, just to preserve the regulative principles for the future, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu enforced the hard and fast rule that no one in the renounced order should intimately mix with women. Had Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu not chastised Junior Haridas for this slight deviation, so-called devotees of the Lord would have exploited the example of Junior Haridas to continue their habit of illicit connections with women unrestrictedly. Indeed, they still preach that such behavior is allowed for a Vaishnava. So this is the Sahajiyas. But it is strictly not allowed. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is the teacher of the entire world, and therefore he enforced this exemplary punishment to establish that illicit sexual connections are never allowed by Vaishnava philosophy. This was his purpose in chastising Junior Haridas. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is in fact the most magnanimous incarnation of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, but he strictly prohibited illicit sex. So we see that Mahaprabhu had no problem with grihasthas. Some of his most intimate associates were grihasthas, like Srivas Thakur, Shivananda Sen, all that. But what he didn't approve was what? Hypocrisy. Hypocrisy is what he didn't approve. So that's the important lesson which he wanted to show through Junior this Chota Haridas. So after all the devotees saw this example, a mentality of fear grew among them. Therefore, they all stopped talking with women even in dreams. In connection with Stri Sambhashana, so in one lecture, Prabhupada says, so therefore, no push with women. No doing push. So talking secretly with women. So that is what is Stri Sambhashana, talking with women. And these days it's very easy. What? Phone. Nobody knows who's talking with whom. And we know some brahmacharis, they got trapped because of this. Speaking on phone. Nobody knows. In the name of preaching. So then they preach to him. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur says that talking with women for the purpose of mingling with them for sense gratification, subtle or gross, is strictly prohibited. Chanakya Pandit, the great moral instructor, says, Matravat Paradarishu. Thus, not only a person in the renounced order or one engaged in devotional service, but everyone. Here Prabhupada is saying it's not only for those in the renounced order, but for everyone should avoid mingling with women. One should consider another's wife as mother. So just like when Kashyap Muni, he had union with Diti at the wrong time. So there, Prabhupada is writing, so he's talking about Diti as prostitute wife. So that means even in Grihastha ashram, if one does not follow rules and regulations, then it's as good as prostitution. So even in Grihastha life, it does not mean that one can have unlimited sense gratification. No, if one does that, it's as good as prostitution. One has to follow the rules and regulations. So therefore, it's not that, okay, in Grihastha ashram is very nice, I can have unlimited sense gratification. No, then one will not make any progress. Then it's as good as prostitution, illicit sex, even with one's own wife. So think about it. It's much more difficult, right? When the object of sense is present and yet one has to restrain. Mhm. So in this way, a complete year passed for Junior Haridas, but still there was not a sign of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's mercy towards him. Mahaprabhu thus he entered deep into the water Triveni, the confluence of the Ganges and Yamuna at Prayag, and in this way gave up his life. Immediately after committing suicide in this way, he went in his spiritual body to Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and received the mercy of the Lord. However, he still remained invisible. So, see, he didn't have any problem. He got his spiritual body and he joined Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in his eternal pastimes. In a spiritual body resembling that of a Gandharva, Junior Haridas, although invisible, would sing at night for Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to hear. No one but the Lord, however, knew of this. One day, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu inquired from the devotees. Mahaprabhu knows everything, but still he's asking, "Where is Haridas? Now you may bring him here." The devotees all replied, "One night at the end of a full year, Junior Haridas got up and went away. No one knows where he has gone." While hearing the devotees lament, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was mildly smiling because he knows everything. Thus all the devotees were very much astonished. And one day, Jagadananda, Swarupa, Govinda, Kashishwar, Shankara, Damodar, and Mukunda all went to bathe in the sea. They could hear Haridas singing from a distant place as if calling them in his original voice. No one could see him, but they could hear him singing in a sweet voice. Therefore, all the devotees headed by Govinda made this guess. Haridas must have committed suicide by drinking poison, and because of this sinful act, he has now become a Brahmana ghost. We cannot see his material form, they said, but still we hear his sweet singing, therefore he must have become a ghost. Swarup Damodar, however, protested, "This is a false guess." Junior Haridas chanted the Hare Krishna mantra throughout his entire life and served the Supreme Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Moreover, is dear to the Lord and has died in a holy place. Haridas cannot have been degraded. He must have attained liberation. This is the pastime of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's. You will all understand it later. A devotee returned to Navdeep from Prayag and told everyone the details of Junior Haridas's suicides. He explained how Junior Haridas had made his resolution and had thus entered the waters at the confluence of Yamuna and Ganges. Hearing these details, Srivas Thakur and other devotees were very surprised. At the end of the year, Shivananda Sen came to Jagannath Puri as usual, accompanied by other devotees, and thus in great happiness met Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. When Srivas Thakur inquired from Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, "Where is Junior Haridas?" the Lord replied, "A person is sure to achieve the results of his fruitive activities." Then Srivas Thakur related the details of Haridas's decision and his entering the waters at the confluence of Ganges and Yamuna. When Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu heard these details, he smiled in a pleased mood and said, "If with sensual intentions one looks at women, this is the only process of atonement." Then all the devotees headed by Swarup Damodar Goswami concluded that because Haridas had committed suicide at the confluence of the river Ganges and Yamuna, he must have ultimately attained shelter at the lotus feet of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Purport: Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur remarks that after one adopts the renounced order and accepts the dress of either a sannyasi or a Babaji, if he entertains the idea of sense gratification, especially in relationship with women, the only atonement is to commit suicide at the confluence of the Ganges and Yamuna. Only by such atonement can his sinful life be purified. If such a person is thus punished, it is possible for him to attain the shelter of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Without such punishment, however, the shelter of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is very difficult to regain. Of course, no one should imitate Chota Haridas. So we know that that was the reason why who ended his life? Vishnu Jan Maharaj. Yes. So then Prabhupada didn't approve that, of course. Prabhupada said, no. So Prabhupada said, I'm not Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So one can't imitate. but one must understand the principle. In this way, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, the son of Mother Sachi, performs his pastimes, which greatly satisfy the ears and minds of pure devotees who hear about them. This incident manifests the mercy of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, his teaching that a sannyasi should remain in the renounced order, and the deep attachment to him felt by his faithful devotees. It also demonstrates the glories of holy places and shows how the Lord accepts his faithful devotee. Thus, the Lord fulfilled 5 or 7 purposes by performing one pastime. Okay. So these are some important points here. And so therefore, those who are in the renounced order should be very strict. And therefore, so one interacts with women only for some important service, and that too, maintain distance and gravity, no confidential dealings, and no frivolous behavior. Prabhupada quotes the example again of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He says he joked with his wife only once. With his wife. And I've personally seen sometimes, brahmacharis laughing and giggling with women. So it's not very appropriate. So even if one wants to talk for service, then just speak how much ever is required. That's it. No intimate dealings, no frivolous behavior, nothing of that sort. Best is Matravat Paradareshu. You see as mother. Then okay. I mean, one can consider, okay. Of course, one should, okay. We have some Shastric reference for that also. So Lord Kapila is saying that. Lord Kapila in his teachings is saying that one should see women as, what exactly it says? Death personified. I just opened 3rd canto. Oh, so anyway, you got na laptop there. You see? 31st. 31st chapter. 31st chapter. You go a few verses down. Maybe 14th or 15th verse. Further down. Okay. So this is 34th verse. There are these 3-4 verses Prabhupada is speaking on. I mean, not sure. Kapil Dev is speaking on this. One should not associate with a coarse fool who's bereft of the knowledge of self-realization as no more than a dancing dog in the hands of a woman. So that's a materialistic person, materialistic man. So one must not associate with men also who closely associate with women. And then further down, yes. So in the 36th verse is given the example of Brahma, who was bewildered by his own daughter. Just one second. So therefore, in this purport, Prabhupada is writing, Lord Brahma's being captivated by the charms of his daughter and Lord Shiva's being captivated by the Mohini form of the Lord are specific instances which instruct us that even great demigods like Brahma and Lord Shiva, what to speak of ordinary conditioned souls, are captivated by the beauty of women. Therefore, everyone is advised that one should not freely mix even with one's daughter or with one's mother or with one's sister, because the senses are so strong that when one becomes infatuated, the senses do not consider the relationship of daughter, mother, or sister. It is best, therefore, to practice controlling the senses by performing Bhakti Yoga, engaging in the service of Madan Mohan. Lord Krishna's name is Madan Mohan. Otherwise, attempts to control the senses will fail, and the computer also fails. Okay, and the next verse he says, amongst all kinds of living entities begotten by Brahma, namely men, demigods, and animals, none but the sage Narayan is immune to the attraction of Maya in the form of women. Right, so here Prabhupada is writing, woman therefore is the wonderful creation of Maya to keep the conditioned soul in shackles. Of course, it applies both ways, woman for man and man for women. Okay, and then in the next verse it says, just try to understand the mighty strength of my Maya in the form of women, who by the mere movement of her eyebrows can keep even the greatest conquerors of the world under her grip. So he gives the example of Cleopatra. So Prabhupada is writing, the captivating power of women and man's susceptibility to such attraction must also exist in the Supreme Godhead. Okay, fine. So we'll just finish, this 2-3 verses more. And then here he gives the example of Haridas Thakur, who was not attracted by the prostitute. So therefore, Param Drishva Nivartate. And then he says, one who aspires to reach the culmination of yoga and has realized his self by rendering service unto me should never associate with an attractive woman, for such a woman is declared in the scriptures to be the gateway to hell for the advancing devotee. So that is what I was looking for. What? Gateway to hell for the advancing devotee. So very strong language is using. Gateway to hell. And so therefore Prabhupada writes in the purport, the association of women is very much restricted in the Vedic civilization. Out of the 4 social divisions, the brahmachari, vanaprastha, and sannyasi, 3 orders, are strictly prohibited from the association of women. Only the grihastha or householders are given license to have an intimate relationship with women, and that relationship is also restricted for begetting nice children. If, however, one wants to stick to continued existence in the material world, he might indulge in female association unrestrictedly. And another important point, next verse he says, the woman created by the Lord is the representation of Maya, and one who associates with such Maya by accepting services must certainly know that this is the way of death, just like a blind well covered with grass. So therefore, one should never accept service from a woman. Prabhupada writes, sometimes it happens that a rejected well is covered by grass. An unwary traveler who does not know of the existence of the well falls down and his death is assured. Similarly, so why the example is being given? So similarly, one doesn't understand the effects. So just like one sees a well covered with grass, पता नहीं चलता है ना, वो क्या सोचता है, घास है, फिर गिर जाता है. So similarly, one thinks, what's the harm? So that's the example I was giving, that brahmachari. So initially one feels what? Oh, nice devotee. What is that? Huh? So I know one brahmachari who got attracted to a woman because she was very good in Shastric study. So he was attracted, I mean, not in a negative way, not in a sensuous way, but he was appreciating. He was appreciating her nice qualities, her understanding of Shastra, and for that reason he would speak, for some Shastric discussion. For that person, for that way. She was married. She was a married lady. And for the sake of some Shastric discussion, he would speak to her. But butter fire principle, always there. And then he had serious problem actually. Okay. So therefore this example is given, well covered with grass, because initially one does not understand the effect. Similarly, association with a woman begins when one accepts service from her. When one accepts service from her, because woman is especially created by the Lord to give service to man. So that is how the woman will come, because the woman has that service attitude. So you'll see. So women, when they see brahmacharis, then they will, can I serve you this? Can I serve you that? Can I give you this? Can I give? So they will come like that. So it begins with service. By accepting her service, a man is entrapped. If he's not intelligent enough to know that she is the gateway to hellish life. Okay, so if you cannot see the woman as mother, then you can at least see as what? Gateway to hellish life. He may indulge in her association very liberally. If one wants to go through that gate, then indulge in that association very liberally. This is restricted for those who aspire to ascend to the transcendental platform. Even 50 years ago in Hindu society, such association was restricted. A wife could not see her husband during the daytime, Prabhupada is writing. Now what to talk about nowadays? Householders even had different residential quarters. Internal quarters of residential house were for women, external quarters were for men. Acceptance of service rendered by a woman may appear very pleasing, but one should be very cautious in accepting such service, because it is clearly said that woman is the gateway to death or forgetfulness of oneself. She blocks the path of spiritual realization. Who's saying all this? This is Lord Kapila's statements. We can't take them lightly. No, I'm special. Yeah. Yes, he's speaking to his mother, but of course he's speaking to the whole world. And then he says, a living entity who as a result of attachment to woman in his previous life has been endowed with the form of a woman. So if somebody is attached to woman in previous life, the next life, the man becomes woman. And then now he turns the thing around. Foolishly looks upon Maya in the form of a man. Previous life he was man. Because of attachment to woman, now he has become woman. And now this woman becomes attached to man. So that is okay, fine. So Sushma, you want to say? Correct. Correct. So what is the meaning of association? Right. So we give association, we don't take association. It's not that they talk nonsense and we keep listening. We don't take association. So we are not associating with them. We are trying to give our association, or we are trying to give Prabhupada's association, and we're trying to transform them. We don't become influenced by what they are saying. No, that's not a, yes, and we don't even know who has cooked in the first place. We don't even know who has cooked, and plus it has been offered to the Lord. So It's coming as Mahaprasad with the Lord's mercy, with the Lord's potency. So that's not a problem. Problem is when we accept personal service. Personal service. Then that's see, when there are some other men, other brahmacharis, then all that is not a big problem. Personal means one-to-one. One-to-one. So, so sometimes a lady may tell a brahmachari, devotees only, may tell a brahmachari, may ask a brahmachari, Prabhu, you gave such a nice lecture the other day. Can I cook something for you? What can I cook for you? This becomes what? One-to-one. This is absolutely personal. So this is what is prohibited. So if it's in general, everyone, along with everyone, 10 brahmacharis go to some house, some devotee ladies are there, they're serving. That's all. That's not a problem. One-to-one. That's all. Okay. So this is about what? Sattva Samshuddhi. Okay, read the next item is Jnana Yoga Vyavasthiti. You have the mic, you read?
But this does not mean that we will military also qualifications and out of sheer benefits and the goal but to see outwardness later. This is the beauty of science. The experience master, so prior to the experience master, you reach this part of the if one is not so advanced, but even if one has
Okay, so again, one in the renounced order must have knowledge, jnana yoga vyavasthiti. So, of course, that helps both ways. One is because one of the main duties of the sannyasi is to preach. So therefore, he needs to have knowledge in order to preach. And of course, that knowledge will also help oneself in one's own practices of devotional service to increase one's own conviction and one's steadfastness in practice. So for that, cultivation of knowledge, of course, again, not only just theoretical knowledge, but realized knowledge. So that will help one in one's own practices and then also to preach. Okay, so these are three important qualifications for one in the renounced order. So it equally applies to brahmacharis and sannyasis. All right. Any other clarifications on this? Okay, good. Time for a break. Then we'll continue. For household. There are restrictions for the householders, even in sex life, which should only be engaged in the propagation of children. Many lectures you must have heard, Prabhupada tells in details, sex life only once a month and all that. So, not using contraceptive methods and all that, Prabhupada is writing. If anyone, even if he is a householder, wants to make progress in spiritual life, he must control his sex life, should not beget children without the purpose of serving Krishna. And this is from Bhakti Siddhanta Thakur. If he's able to beget children who will be in Krishna consciousness, one can produce hundreds of children. But without this capacity, one should not indulge only for sense pleasure. Right. So therefore, the responsibility has to be done. See, it applies for all responsible people, as Rishabh Dev is saying. It applies for a guru, king, husband, a mother, father, for all responsible people. The responsible people have to do their duty of trying to make the dependents Krishna conscious. But ultimately, the free will of the jiva is always there. So one can't force, na? One can't force somebody to become Krishna conscious. Ultimately, the person has to accept. But the responsible person has to try his best. If he does his best, he does his duty properly, then that's fine. Again. But then that's what, nothing, everything is not within our control. Krishna's son became a demon. Then how do you explain that? If Krishna's son can become a demon, then what to speak of anybody else? So if somebody is using that argument, you can give this example. So therefore, one cannot blame if somebody is sincerely trying his best, then that's accepted. So similarly, guru could be advanced, maybe trying to help the disciple, but so many disciples go away. So many Prabhupada's disciples went away. Can't blame the guru. Okay. So next is sacrifice. Sacrifices require a large amount of money. And of course, in Vedic times, Agnihotra sacrifice and all that. But now the best sacrifice is Sankirtan Yajna. Most inexpensive sacrifice. Everyone can adopt it and derive benefit. So these three items, namely charity, sense control, performance of sacrifice, are meant for householder. Then Swadhyay, Vedic study is meant for brahmacharya or student life. Brahmacharis should have no connection with women. They should live a life of celibacy, engage the mind in the study of Vedic literature for cultivation of spiritual knowledge. This is called Swadhyay. Okay, so Swadhyay to control the mind. So intelligence, if intelligence is strong intelligence can control the mind, then that will help one to control one's senses. And of course, as we were discussing, we've discussed this point many times, that it's not only just theoretical knowledge, but theoretical knowledge should turn into realized knowledge, Gyan and Vigyan. How Gyan turns into Vigyan? Yes, by following instructions of spiritual master. By mercy of Guru and Krishna, Gyan turns into Vigyan. So therefore, very important that one sincerely follows all the instructions of the spiritual master. For us, all the instructions which Srila Prabhupada has given in terms of the morning program, chanting Hare Krishna, reading the scriptures, hearing the classes, performing practical services. So all these things need to be done. Otherwise, only theoretical knowledge does not help. Does not. Okay. Then tapas, austerity, meant for retired life, that is vanaprasthas. And then Prabhupada is talking about three types of austerity: body, mind, and tongue. That will come later on in the 17th chapter, next chapter. That is tapasya. Then Prabhupada says the entire varnashram dharma society is meant for tapasya. Without tapasya or austerity, no human being can get liberation. Therefore, what Rishabh Deva said? Tapo divyam putraka yena sattvam shuddhyeti asmad brahma saukyam tvanasam. So that is meant for all human beings. So for everyone, tapasya is required. The theory that there's no need of austerity in life, that one can go on speculating and everything will be nice, is recommended neither in Vedic literature nor in Bhagavad Gita. Such theories are manufactured by show bottle spiritualists who are trying to gather more followers. If there are restrictions, rules and regulations, people will not become attracted. So therefore, Prabhupada also said that if I would not have given these rules and regulations, there would be millions of followers. But Prabhupada said, no compromise. Therefore, those who want followers in the name of religion, just to have a show only, don't restrict the lives of their students, not their own lives. Not their own lives. They don't restrict their own lives, nor the others. But that method is not approved by the Vedas. Okay, and then one quality for everyone. That is what? Arjavam. Arjavam, simplicity. Not only should a particular order of life follow this principle, but every member, be brahmachari ashram, grihastha ashram, vanprastha ashram, or sannyas ashram, one should be very simple and straightforward. So what is the importance of simplicity? As Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur said, saralta e vaishnavata. Vaishnava means it should be saral, simple. So what is the importance? Simplicity for all Vaishnavas. It attracts the grace of Krishna. Why? Yes, it's not duplicitous, correct. So what is the result of duplicity? What happens when one is duplicitous? Kutniti. Kutinati. Kutniti.
He becomes mithyachari.
Yes, he becomes mithyachari. That's what we were reading about Chota Haridas. Hypocrites. He cannot focus on practice if he is duplicitous. What's the connection? Correct. That's right. What else? Why simplicity is so important for a devotee? Okay, that is external simplicity. Okay, external simplicity is also required. Simplicity in terms of one's needs. As Rupa Goswami is saying, atyahar, atyahar. So atyahar means what? Yes, collecting more than required. So, yes. So if one is collecting more than required, then also life becomes complex. That's correct. So that's one aspect of simplicity, but there's another aspect of simplicity, that's simplicity in dealings, simplicity in one's thoughts. That's internal simplicity. So, if one is not simple but duplicitous, that means what? One wants something, or one is something internally, but externally he wants to make a show. So, His Holiness Gaur Govind Maharaj, he says that one of the main reasons for kapatya is pratisthasha. One of the main reasons for kapatya is pratisthasha. So he gives a very simple example. Of course, it's quite an innocent example, but just to make a point. So he says that just like if everyone is sitting for prasadam, all brahmacharis are sitting for prasadam, and they're serving my favorite item, gulab jamuns. And they made unlimited gulab jamuns. So you can have as many as you want. Vaman Prabhu has been very liberal. Jitna chahiye utna le lo, de lo. So if that is one's favorite item, so then फिर व्यक्ति ठीक है 2 लेगा, 3 लेगा, 4 लेगा. So the server is going to give the 5th one now. तो क्या सोचेगा वो? हाँ तो देख लिया. कौन देख रहा है? So internally he has desire. एक डजन चाहिए। लेकिन बाहर से क्या बोल So he gives this example for Kapatya. So internally he has a desire for more, but externally what he wants to show? I'm sense controlled. I'm sense controlled. Sadhu, sadhu. This is quite an innocent example. It won't harm too much. But that same mentality can go in so many different ways. In every service, practically, in every service, this duplicitous mentality can come. Just like somebody, and we do find these things, nothing very, not something big secret or something like that. We find people are sitting for a Bhagavatam class, they're sitting behind and doing what? They're doing their own work. Why they're sitting for class? To make a show of attendance. Why? Because people should know that I'm a very sincere devotee attending Bhagavatam class. So he wants to make a show. There's Pratishtha Asha. So basically the root cause always remains Pratishtha Asha. So he wants to make a show, but he's not interested to hear. He's doing his own things. Will he gain anything from the class? Will he gain anything from the class? No, he doesn't gain anything from the class. So rather he wastes time. He's just wasting time. Or as we were discussing, one could be preaching to women as an act of compassion. These things have happened as an act of compassion. But there are wrong inner motives. And I mean, there could be so many different examples. There have been cases where even brahmacharis, what to speak of grihasthas, even brahmacharis have been involved with swindling money, cheating, accumulating money. All these things have happened. And then the person, he doesn't admit. In preaching, sometimes we find devotees compromise their morning program, they're chanting in the name of preaching. So like that, so many examples can be given for this duplicitous tendency. One has a different inner motive, but that inner motive manifests externally as a very saintly quality. So why again everything boils down to Pratishtha actually. So one wants to make a big show of being saintly, but then one has different inner motives. In book distribution, so many times. So many things go on. So much cheating goes on in the name of book distribution. So in every service we can see that. In every service we can see. So therefore, every individual devotee has to analyze for himself. Am I being duplicitous or am I being simple? So Gaur Govind Maharaj says, Mahaprabhu is Patit Pavan, but not Kapata Pavan. So therefore here, the Lord himself is saying, and of course Acharyas, Arjavam, simplicity is meant for everyone, whichever ashram, whichever varna. If somebody is a devotee, Vaishnav, he has to be simple. And then another result of this phenomenon is what? So suppose somebody does this kutniti. So externally he makes a show, internally there is some cheating. Then if he's caught, then what happens? Then he tells lies to cover up for his cheating. So to cover up for one lie, it is said one has to tell 100 lies. तो फिर उसके मन में क्या चलता रहेगा? वही चलता रहेगा. हाँ. In his mind all the time this only will be going on. I think so I don't remember. But I told the story of one devotee who got 2 passports. I told. So there was one devotee living in Mayapur. So he was, actually I saw him, every day he would go and do Narsim Puja. You know Narsim Puja in Mayapur, they take that thali with fruits and everything. And so once in a while one does, but every day he was doing. So I was seeing that every day. I was surprised, every day. So any case, so one day when I was teaching, so one day he came and said, tomorrow I will not be able to come for class. Okay. So I asked, why? What happened? So he said he has to go to the court. So I asked him what happened, why? So then he said, so he has a Russian wife. He's an Indian, Gujarati. He's an Indian, he married a Russian. And so now, so he thought it'll be nice to have a Russian passport. But then Indian can't have Russian passport. Unless one becomes Russian citizen, it's not possible. But then he did some golmaal and he got Russian passport in addition to Indian passport. So, one can't hide these things for too long. So, somehow it was detected. The police found out. So, I think so, he stayed in jail also for some time. And so now court case was going on. So for that he's doing Narsim Puja. So he did third class nonsense and is expecting Narsim Dev to protect him. So what this person was doing, Bhakti Shastri, what he will study? His whole mind is there. How to come out of this court case? His whole mind is there. So what he'll study? So now he has to make a show of being a good student, no? And pass the exams. So then what he'll do? How to pass? He has no time to study. Then how he'll pass the exam? Cheat. So you see how one thing leads to the other? So then, open cheating. Closed book exam, open cheating. So he got a group of friends. They were all openly cheating. And then those who are sincere students, and they got alarmed. ये क्या चल रहा है? So that year, That became such a big issue in Mayapur, it went right up to Jayapatak Maharaj. So he told the authorities, do the needful. But anyways, so you see how one thing leads to the other? Now what Hare Krishna he will chant? What devotional service he'll do? And so now to cover up for that, to cover up for all his nonsense, then he would invite all the teachers to his house for a nice feast. To show that he's such a nice devotee. So all these things happen. So how can such a person make progress in devotions? Where is pure devotional service and what is this devotional service going? So there are enough funny things going on in the outside world. But this is the fact. See, every human being has tendency for what? One of the tendencies is what? Cheating. Everyone has the tendency. Everyone. To such an extent that even a very nice, sincere devotee, if he gets a chance to cheat in a Bhakti Shastri exam, he will go for it. It's a fact. We have seen it. We have seen it. When we detected, we were shocked. Such a devotee we never expected to cheat. But still, given an opportunity, his tendency is very strong. But then, as we were just reading, the Paramatma is there. Paramatma knows every thought, every word, every action, Paramatma knows. Can we cheat without the Paramatma knowing? So when Paramatma sees that this person is doing all this cheating, what will be the reciprocation? What realization which will the Paramatma reveal to such a person? Devotional service is entirely based on what? Revelation. It's all based on revelation. Realization is based on revelation. So when Krishna as Paramatma sees that somebody is insincere, what will he reveal? Nothing much. So then, when there's not much realization, when to the degree one realizes, one has realizations of the beauty of the holy name, the beauty of Krishna's form, the beauty of Krishna's pastimes, the more realization one has of this beauty, then one develops what? Param Drishva Nivartate. Then one can give up the lower taste. But if one has no higher realization, then it's very difficult to give up the lower taste. Then the struggle will continue. Therefore, Prabhupada has written hundreds of times. The progress entirely depends on how much a devotee is serious and sincere. These two words Prabhupada has used so many times. Serious and sincere. Because to the degree the devotee is serious and sincere, then the Paramatma reciprocates. Then one gets the higher taste. Then the progress will take place. So, therefore, this arjavam, simplicity, very important. So one must have a simple heart. Goal must be very simple, very clear. So that is what is most important. Then one will simply follow. So just like that, we often give the example of the South Indian Brahman at Srirangam. That is simplicity. Guru told him, read Bhagavad Gita every day. Finished. No argument, nothing. He's trying to read Bhagavad Gita. That's all. There's nothing complicated. So when one is simple, that's what happens. Okay, Guru has given instruction, let me try. That's what Prabhupada did. Guru has given instruction, let me try. Initially, did Prabhupada have some big aspirations, big motives to have a large number of followers, something like that? No, nothing. In fact, Prabhupada openly says that initially he thought, if I go there and tell them these 4 principles, they'll say, go home. That's how simple Prabhupada was. There was nothing, there was no aspiration, no motives, nothing. Just the desire to fulfill instruction of Guru, that's all. So that's how one needs to be very simple. But then when Pratishta Asha comes into the picture, then all the duplicity begins. So, and to the degree that duplicity begins and one does crooked things, then to that degree, then Krishna withholds his mercy. To the degree material motives come into the picture, then Krishna withdraws the mercy. Then getting the higher taste becomes an issue. Then devotees find lack of enthusiasm, no taste, no progress. So then you find all these problems. That is why Arjavam, very important. Is this point clear for everyone? Online, everyone is hearing, na?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Yes, Prabhuji.
Yes, Prabhuji.
Yes, Prabhuji.
Okay.
Yes, please.
Huh. Okay, so what is straightforward? Of course, Prabhupada defines straightforward. In other places, when he defines truthfulness, one must be so straightforward that one is ready to tell the truth even to enemy. Of course, that's how truthful one should be. That one is ready to tell the truth even to an enemy. Of course, again, it does not mean that one should be foolish. One should use one's intelligence. But the main principle is to be straightforward, especially in the association of devotees. Definitely required to be truthful, not hiding the truths, not manipulating the truth. So just like sometimes devotees, who for whatever reason they want to do something, but they have doubts. If I approach my authorities, maybe they will not give permission. So what to do? So you know everything. Huh? So that's a trick that sometimes devotees use. Okay, do it, then inform. And if they ask, hey, why did you do it? Sorry, I did it now, what to do? So these are, lacking straightforwardness. This is lacking straightforwardness. This is some level of kutniti, duplicity. So this is actually, if you speak from a shastric or a philosophical perspective, then on the yoga ladder, where will this fall? If one first does the activity and then offers the fruits, where does it fall? Yes, it becomes karma yoga. That is karma yoga. When one first does the activity and then offers the fruits. But in bhakti yoga, what one does? Even before the activity is done, the activity is offered. That means right from the beginning, the activity is done for the pleasure of the Supreme. It's not that only the fruits are offered. Then it falls at the level of karma. So Bhakti Yoga means before the activity is done, first I have to ask, will this please Krishna? Then the activity is done and then the fruits are offered. Then it becomes Bhakti. Right? So therefore one has to understand all these things. And then ultimately all these things affect one's progress in spiritual. All these things affect. So does it help? Great. So, and so now Prabhupada is giving an example of how, especially in modern days, while dealing with outsiders for the purpose of spreading Krishna consciousness, then one could be a little bit, you could say, worldly wise. So Prabhupada is giving an example, his own experience. So he was saying that, so he was traveling with Brahmanand Prabhu. And so at the customs, there was something which they had purchased. And so they asked him, the customs officer asked him, how much is the price? So then Srila Prabhupada says, this Brahmananda, he could have told some other price, but he told the price as it is. So maybe there was some problem. He didn't get into the details, but maybe there was some problem. So Prabhupada was making the point, when he was speaking about truthfulness, only Prabhupada is making this point, that how, while dealing with outside people in the outside world, because, things are, because the world outside is not conducive to Brahmanical culture. Correct. This is not Vedic times. Right? In Vedic times, where there was Brahmanical culture, then governments, rulers, then everyone would support Brahmanical culture, spreading of Krishna consciousness, all that. But now we have demoniac governments with all demoniac rules. So therefore, one needs to be little intelligent while dealing with outside people. That was the point Prabhupada was making, right? So therefore, then we know the famous statement Srila Prabhupada has made in 13th chapter. Great souls cheat for great cause. So if one is a great soul and one has a great cause, then one can cheat. 2 questions to be asked before cheating. What? Yes. 2 conditions to be fulfilled before cheating. So of course, in Prabhupada's case, both applied. Right. Yeah, there was. Okay. Tell. Right. And Prabhupada did something very quite tricky there, right? Correct. Right. Correct. So yeah, so Prabhupada was, of course, he was very expert in all these things. But that is the point. So therefore, so especially in dealings with devotees where there is no need, if there is no need for cheating, then yes, then one should be absolutely straightforward. If there's no need to cheat. Hope that answers the question, Sushmita. Okay, fine. Okay, so that's about the ashramas. Now coming to varnas. So varnas, qualities for brahmanas. For brahmanas, there's a big list of qualities. Okay, so we're not reading everything. You can read on your own. But Prabhupada gives some nice definitions here. See the definition of ahimsa that Prabhupada gives here. Ahimsa means not arresting the progressive life of any living entity. This is a most precise definition of ahimsa. Not arresting the progressive life of any living entity. So it refers to both animals as well as to humans. So as far as animals are concerned, then if an animal is killed, physically killed, then what is happening? In the same species, he doesn't go to the next higher species. And so that's how his progress is arrested. And similarly for human beings, so if human beings don't get spiritual knowledge, then they also don't make further progress. So that is how both for animals and human beings this definition applies. Not arresting progressive life of any living entity. As Prabhupada is explaining this, very nicely is explaining. The animals are also making progress in the evolutionary life. We're transmigrating from one category of animal life to another. If a particular animal is killed, then his progress is checked. If an animal is staying in a particular body for so many days or so many years and is untimely killed, then has to come back again in that form of life to complete the remaining days in order to be promoted to another species of life. So their progress should not be checked simply to satisfy one's palate. This is not animals. Then Satyam. Yes. Here again, Prabhupada is giving a very nice definition of Satyam. This means that one should not distort the truth for some personal interests. This is a very precise definition. Not distort the truth for some personal interest. So that means if it is Krishna's interest, just like, yes, Krishna told Yudhishthira Maharaj to tell lies. So not for personal interest. So another point in that same context, Prabhupada is talking about misinterpretation. One should not construe some interpretation for his personal interest. So sometimes we do find in the society of devotees also, somebody may have some personal interest, and to prove their personal interest, then they take some specific quotes from Shastra to prove their point out of context. So sometimes we find these things happening. So that also does not fall into truthfulness. So everything depends on what's the motive, what's the goal. Okay, then akrodha. Akrodha means to check anger. Even if there is provocation, one should be tolerant. Even if there's provocation, one should be tolerant. For once one becomes angry, his whole body becomes polluted. Because anger is a product of passion. Ignorance. So one who is transcendently situated should check himself from anger, should check himself from anger. So see, so if one becomes angry, by slight provocation, one becomes angry. And if it is not something which is a big mistake or something like that, if one unnecessarily becomes angry, who is at loss? Oneself is at loss. We all have experience, right? When we become angry, as Prabhupada is writing here, what happens? The whole mind, body, everything becomes polluted. Right. Materially also, yes, due to anger, the BP increases and there are so many side effects of that. And of course, we know when the mind becomes affected by anger, then there's so many after effects. The mind does not forget the event, and then it pollutes the mind, can't concentrate on anything. So all these things happen. So therefore, as Prabhupada is writing, one should check himself from anger. So of course, at other places, Prabhupada has written. So therefore, one of the ways to control anger is what? Forgive. So if one forgives the other person for the mistake, then one will not get angry. Yes, of course, all these are qualities for Brahmanas. That's correct. Yes, Kshatriya, he is allowed to punish, as we'll see in that. But even there, Prabhupada is writing something. We'll come to that. Then the next one is what? Apaishunam. Apaishunam means that one should not find a fault with others or correct them unnecessarily. You can see how Prabhupada's definitions are so precise. So precise. One should not find fault with others or correct them unnecessarily. And he's explaining, of course, to call a thief is not fault finding. But to call an honest person a thief is very much offensive for one who's making advancement in spirituality. And so somebody in responsible position may have to find faults, correct others. So then that's fine if it's done with the right motive. Re means that one should be very modest and must not perform some act which is abominable, not performing sinful activities. Achapalam, determination means that one should not be agitated or frustrated in some attempts. There may be failure in some attempt, but one should not be sorry for that. He should make progress with patience and determination. Okay, so all these are qualities for Brahmanas. Then for Kshatriyas, Tejas. Kshatriyas should always be very strong to be able to give protection to the weak. They should not pose themselves as non-violent. Okay, so ahimsa is quality for whom? Brahmanas. But for Kshatriyas, what he's saying? They should not pose themselves as non-violent. If violence is required, they must exhibit. But also, one of the qualities of Kshatriya is what? Teja Kshama. Kshama is also quality. So they can be violent, but at the same time, forgiving. So that's what Prabhupada is explaining. But a person who is able to curb down his enemy may, under certain conditions, show forgiveness. He may excuse minor offenses. Right? So the Kshatriya should also know when to forgive. So then Shaucham. Shaucham is for Vaishyas. So in this context, Shaucham means cleanliness not only in mind and body, but in one's dealings also. It is especially meant for the mercantile people who should not deal in the black market. So that is what is Shaucham in this context, for Vaishyas, not doing black business. And then Nati Manita, not expecting honor, applies to the Shudras, the worker class, which are considered according to Vedic injunctions to be the lowest of the four classes. They should not be puffed up with unnecessary prestige or honor and should remain in their own status. It's the duty of the Shudras to offer respect to the high class for the upkeep of the social order. All these 26 qualifications mentioned are transcendental qualities. Okay, so yes, because ultimately all these qualities are also required for devotees for the pleasure of the Supreme Lord. So therefore, they can also be considered to be transcendental qualities. They should be cultivated according to the different stages of social and occupational order. The purport is that even though material conditions are miserable, if these qualities are developed by practice, okay, so definitely one should also try to develop the qualities by practice, because that practice itself is a part of devotional service by all class of men. Then gradually it is possible to rise to the highest platform of transcendental realization. Okay, fine. So now those are the list of divine qualities. So now he speaks of demoniac qualities. So Abhijatasya. Okay. Dambo darpo vimanascha krodha parushameva cha ajnanam jabijatasya partha sampadamasurim. Pride, arrogance, conceit, anger, harshness, and ignorance, these qualities belong to those of demoniac nature, O son of Pritha. Prabhupada begins his purport by saying, in this verse, the royal road to hell is described. Royal road to hell. So if one wants to go to hell, adopt all these qualities. Then one will express speed, go to hell. So each of these sentences that Prabhupada has given is a definition for each of them. Okay, so you can collaborate with what Vishwanath Thakur has given. We'll read from the book. So the first sentence, the demoniac want to make a show of religion and advancement in spiritual science, although they do not follow the principles. This is what? Damba, damba.
उनको एड्रेस इधर ही है अंदर जाओ
Huh?
लेटर में कॉल करेंगे
Okay, so this is damba. Damba means making a show.
कोई
Okay.
है मान का नंबर आपको पर क्लास वो आपको
एक कौन है?
ये नंबर पे कॉल करेंगे ना वो हमारे चैतन्य मंडल से आगे और मैडम
अरे क्या लीला चल रहा है भाई बीच में?
ठीक है उनको पता है और बेटा विष्णु प्रभु हाँ 2 महीने का डिपॉजिट प्रभु जी वो करना रजिस्टर का नंबर
हरे कृष्णा विठल विष्णु प्रभु
अभी इसका डिपॉजिट तो करना रजिस्टर
देखो ये ऑनलाइन का यही प्रॉब्लम है,
ऑनलाइन का ये
लोग अपना कुछ भी करते रहते हैं, क्लास सुन रहे हैं, कुछ भी करते रहते हैं. Big problem with this online. So therefore we should not allow this.
सॉरी प्रभु जी सिंगिंग हो गई
Okay. Now the next one, darpa. Darpa is what? They're always arrogant or proud in possessing some type of education or so much wealth. So you can see here also, darpa. Darpa means pride due to wealth, knowledge, and the like, some opulence. Pride due to some opulence. So that is darpa. Then abhiman. So what Prabhupada writing? They desire to be worshipped by others and demand respectability, although they do not command respect. So what is the difference between demanding respect and commanding respect? Yes. So commanding respect means by one's behavior, others are inspired to respect. Not jabardasti. Not jabardasti. Hey, you have to respect. So not like that. But by one's behavior, others are automatically inspired. That is command respect. But here, abhiman means what? One has a desire to get respect from others. And also it says attachment to wife, sons, and things. Okay, then next is what? Krodh. Krodh, anger. But then specifically Prabhupada says, oh, but trifles, they become very angry. Choti baaton par, they become angry. That is Krodh. And Parusha. Parusha means cruelty. Or here it says, speak harshly, not gently. So that is harshness, parusham. Parusham is harshness. And next is what? Agyanam. Agyanam, ignorance, lack of discrimination. As Prabhupada writes, they do not know what should be done and what should not be done. They do everything whimsically, according to their own desire, and they do not recognize any authority. So these demoniac qualities are taken on by them from the beginning of their bodies in the wombs of their mothers, and as they grow, they manifest all these emotions. So they are coming from previous life, abhijatasya. So therefore they're right from birth. They may not manifest immediately after birth, but as they grow up, then slowly everything begins to manifest. Okay, 5th verse. Devi sampad vimokshaya nibandaya surimata mashucha sampadam devim abhijatosi pandava. The transcendent qualities are conducive to liberation, whereas the demoniac qualities make for bondage. Devi sampad vimokshaya nibandaya. So the Devi qualities lead to liberation. But then he says, Mashu, don't worry. So Arjuna had a worry. What he was worrying? What do I have? Am I demon or divine? What type of qualities I have? Because I'm being told to fight. So is this good? So therefore, Krishna says, don't worry. You have all divine qualities. So that's what Prabhupada writes. Lord Krishna encouraged Arjuna by telling him that he was not born with demoniac qualities. His involvement in the fight was not demoniac because he was considering the pros and cons. He was considering whether respective persons. Therefore, there was no cause for Arjuna to lament. Anyone who performs the regulative principles of the different orders of life is transcendently situated. Sixth, Dvabhuta sarga lokesmin deva asura eva cha devo vistarsha prokta asuram partame shrinu. O son of Pritha, in this world there are two kinds of created beings. One is called divine and the other demoniac. I've already explained to you at length the divine qualities. Now hear from me of demoniac. So here Prabhupada writes that those who are born with demoniac qualities follow regulated life, that is to say, they abide by the injunctions in scriptures and by authorities. One should perform duties in the light of authoritative scriptures. This mentality is called divine. One who does not follow the regulative principles as they lay down in the scriptures and who acts according to his whims is called demoniac or asuric. There is no other criterion. There is no other criterion but obedience to the regulative principles of the scriptures. So the main difference between divine and demonic is what? Obedience to the scriptures. That is the main difference. So it's not based upon anything external, how one looks, what one does. No, all that does not matter. The main difference is what? The obedience to the scriptures. It is mentioned in the Vedic literature that both demigods and demons are born of the Prajapati. The only difference is that one class obeys the Vedic injunctions and the other does not. That is the main difference. So the rest of the chapter is all about demoniac qualities. So we are all very much familiar with them. So there's no need to, the divine qualities for us require more explanation. Correct? Demoniac qualities, where since time immemorial, there are friends. So that doesn't require much explanation. So rest of the chapter will go fast. So we'll finish the rest of the chapter and then go to the 17th chapter tomorrow. Okay? There's one nice quote from Srila Prabhupada. Please read.
It's very proud that it is due to ignorance. Simply we have to develop either this demonic characteristic or the divine characteristic. So human life is meant for developing divine characteristic, not this demonic characteristic. Demonic characteristic is already there, just like dog. The dog has also pride. I am this dog. I am fox terrier. I am this. I am that. So Dhamma is there even in the dog, even in the lower animal, even in the cat. But the divine characteristic, oh, I am so low. I am lower than the grass. I am lower than the grass. I am lower than the grass. This is Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's teaching. What is this Dhamma? Why should I be pride? What is this pride? So that is ignorance, due to ignorance. When one man is unnecessarily proud, that means it is due to ignorance.
Right, we discussed this in the 15th chapter also. Krishna saying, 15th chapter, 5th verse. Nirmana moha jitasanga dosha. So there also we discussed. Pride is due to moha, ignorance. Even though one is an insignificant person, live for a short time, anytime, everything could be finished. But still one thinks, no, I'm such a great person, I'll do this, I'll do that. One moment, everything can be finished. What is that to be proud of? Okay. Read this.
But if you have some demonic qualities, it just that if we seriously do that eminent quality will disappear very soon. If from both Brahman, after this Surah, by the technique of Mantra, father will disappear. From both Brahman. Just like the electric fan is moving and you make the switch off, still you will find it is moving. But that movement will stop very soon because switch is off. Similarly, a devotee is sometimes found that he is dependent. That devotee, if he is sincerely a devotee, then eminent qualities will go very soon.
Okay, so important point. So he's asking, is it possible for a person to be part demon, part devotee in the same person? So Prabhupada is saying, no, devotee means devotee, he can't be demon. But he can have some demoniac qualities. So he's devotee only, but can have some demoniac qualities. Of course, we discussed this verse in great detail, apichet suduracharo. So therefore, some demonic qualities could be there. So he's giving an example of fan. So switch off the fan, it continues to move for some time. So similarly, because we are not yet completely purified, some demonic qualities may be there. And so one should not be too surprised. One should not be too surprised and too critical of a devotee who may have some demoniac qualities. So we discussed these points. Primary quality of devotee is Krishna Ekasharna. So if that is there, then all the other secondary qualities, remaining 25 qualities, will gradually develop. So one should not be too impatient. So therefore, if one sees some demoniac qualities in a devotee occasionally, so one should not be too disturbed. One should think that, okay, he's practicing devotional service, slowly they will go away. Just like the fan. So it will stop. So similarly, one should think that, okay, he has some demoniac qualities, but not whatever, practically what needs to be done should be done. But at the same time, one should not become over critical and have some wrong perception and all that, just because the devotee is having some small defects. One should not take them too seriously. And at the same time, of course, as far as our personal application is concerned, we should understand that, yes, I need to practice devotional service. What? Sincerely. If he's sincerely a devotee, that demonic qualities will go very soon. So I need to practice sincere devotional service so that my demoniac qualities will go away soon. Then I can practice devotional service in a better way. So that's how, when we see other Vaishnavas, then we should be more forgiving and we should think that, okay, he's a nice devotee. So some demonic qualities, they'll go away. So that's how one should see other Vaishnavas. And for oneself, one should think that, no, I have so many demoniac qualities. I need to practice devotional service sincerely, seriously, so that I can become a nice devotee. So that's how one should practice. Okay, fine. So we'll stop for today. Thank you very much. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Srimad Bhagavad Gita ki jai, Samved Gaur Bhakta Vrinda ki jai. Thank you. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram.
Ram Ram Hare.
Prabhuji, I have one question, Prabhuji.
Bolo.
Prabhuji, Abhishek this side. Prabhuji, you said that the last point, that pride is due to moha. I've heard in the past classes that the quality of the problem with the person who is on the Sattva-guna platform, because he sees other devotees also, or other people also, they are lower than himself, like mostly the sadhakas which are in ignorance and in passion. So there, the problem is that the pride develops, and because of that, fall down happens. So because now the person in Sattva Guna is on the platform of knowledge. There's moha and this pride gets.
So yes, so if the person on Sattva Guna is becoming proud, then that means he does not have proper knowledge. So therefore, many times we are distinguishing between theoretical knowledge and realized knowledge.
Okay, so realized knowledge is not.
Yes. So see, for a person in Sattva Guna, it is easier to have a lot of theoretical knowledge. Because he can learn the Shastras, he can memorize number of verses, he can read a lot, memorize a lot. So all that is possible on Sattvagun platform, na?
Okay, yeah.
Huh? All that is possible, no? So all that is possible, but Sattvagun again is not our goal, na?
Right, yes.
Sattvagun is not our goal. So we have to come to the Shuddha Sattva platform, transcendental platform. So therefore, when one practices devotional service, then knowledge turns into realization and then one becomes humble.
Okay.
So therefore, we are not satisfied simply at being in Sattvagun and acquiring a lot of theoretical knowledge. Well, that is required, but if one does not have devotion, that means the devotional attitude, doing all our activities to please Guru and Krishna. If one does not have the devotional attitude, then all that knowledge will simply lead to pride. As we see in the case of Romarshan. Romarshan had a lot of knowledge of the scriptures. He was giving lectures also. But he didn't have humility. So therefore, when one may have a lot of theoretical knowledge, but at the same time, one needs to sincerely follow instructions of Guru, serve the Vaishnavas, and act for the pleasure of Guru and Krishna, not for personal motivations. So in this way, when one practices devotional service, then one will develop the right qualities.
So, Guruji, devotional attitude, or the service attitude is the key here.
Yes, service attitude is required. That's correct.
Okay, thank you, sir. Thank you, Guruji.
Thank you. ठीक है? Fine. Shri Prabhupada ki